Yo, good morning, good afternoon, people. Give you guys a minute to step up in the building. I know I'm mad late. I was supposed to do this live stream yesterday, but I was having technical difficulties, so here I am doing it today. We'll see what the algorithm does for your boy. You know, it really does not work for me, so it is what it is. I keep pushing regardless, and that's how we do it around here. Anyway, it is Sunday, September 10th, 2023, and it is a beautiful day. About 78, 80 degrees here in South Carolina. The hot months are pretty much at an end. We get about 3 months of hot ass months, and then, you know, hey, we go right back to where we're supposed to be. Anyway, I'm in South Carolina right now, about to hit the stove. You know, we got to do run a little bit of errands before I head back to Georgia. And the wife, she is doing an open house in Sumter, so, you know, I got to make sure the kids are fed today. Anyway, how y'all doing? This is crazy, man. You guys probably know by now that the governor of New Mexico has deemed that, she put out a decree that you cannot open carry or conceal carry in an area of New Mexico where there is so many deaths for so many people. And it's completely criminal, okay? It's completely criminal. And we know this, right? We know. And, what I'm getting tired of is when people that advocate for our rights, advocate for this gun right, advocate for that free speech, advocate for this, advocate for that, when a despot comes through and essentially says, nah, fuck that, you don't have this right, you don't have that right, we can do what we want, we can rule by fiat, we can do this executive order, we can use the Model State Health Emergency Powers Act, which is what this wench in New Mexico did, essentially. You see, every time they put out a piece of legislation that is supposed to be used for the public good, it always and invariably ends up being for the public bad. You understand what I'm saying? What is the Model States Health Emergency Powers Act? It is basically a blank check to commit tyranny and use the auspices of public health concern to commit that tyranny. You understand what I'm saying? And in this case, someone, unfortunately passed away due to a gunshot in New Mexico. And so now she's like, oh, well, it's a public health emergency, so we must stop people from being able to open carry, conceal carry. Well, in the New Mexican Constitution, there shall be no law that abridges the right of the people to keep and bear arms, okay? Point blank and period. There shall be no law. There shall be no decree. There shall be no, and this is not even a law, right? This is just an edict from, oh shit. This is just an edict from a sitting governor. It's not even real. It's just, and really at the end of the day, it's up to law enforcement to determine, okay, are we going to or not going to enforce this? And fortunately for the people of Albuquerque, and basically this decree only applies to the people of New Mexico, of Albuquerque and another county, because that's where most of the crime occurs. And so it's not the whole state, it's just Albuquerque and this other county. Now, the police chiefs and all that for those particular counties have said that no, we're not going to enforce this. So basically, it's the state police that are going to enforce this, and it's complete and utter bullshit, right? It's complete and utter bullshit. They should not even be enforcing this. But here's the thing, though. What she has done what she has done is commit a crime for which she should be arrested. You understand what I'm saying? She violated 18 U.S. Code 241 and 242. Basically, I think it's 241 or 242 that has to do with conspiracy, right, to deprive an individual of their rights. Conspiracy. That means that you just come up with the idea, or you try to implement a plan that will violate somebody's rights as a public official, as a under the color of law, basically. And that's what she has done. She has done that, you know. So at the end of the day, she should be arrested. She should be hauled off to the hoof school. She should be taken in, like, right? She should be booked and have charges brought upon her. And there are certain ways that this can happen, right? So since she decided to violate the rights of so many people, there will be one count for each of those people that she violated. And she can get up to a year just for trying to deprive people of rights, conspiring to do it, right? Conspiracy. The other one is deprivation of rights under the color of law, where you actually deprive that person of their rights. You take action on that executive order, on that edict, on that decree. You know what I'm saying? When you actually enforce this unconstitutional, illegal law, whatever you want to call it, this criminal act. So if you actually violate somebody's rights under this color of law, then you can go to prison for up to a year. Now, that could be as simple as saying, okay, well, go home. You can't put the gun up, take the gun back to the house, or whatever the case may be. Like, if it's because it's essentially up to officer discretion, or depending on what the decree says. If they say, it depends on what it calls for, whether it calls for confiscation, whether it calls for, telling someone to take their shit back home, whatever they wanted to call for. Now, what the deal is if someone ends up being kidnapped, right, arrested, right, during this act, during the deprivation of their rights, well, that's when it gets really bad, right? That's when they could get up to life in prison or even death. You understand what I'm saying? So that means if a police officer commits the crime of kidnapping somebody, right, because they decide to exercise their right to keep and bear arms, and they're not criminals, they're not this, they're not that, well, then guess what? That police officer needs to get life in prison or get the death penalty. Simple as that. And so if the governor put this out there, if someone ends up getting arrested while the governor's conspiracy is at work, then she can get up to life in prison or death. Why aren't we calling for the arrest of this wench? Why aren't we calling for the arrest of any individual, the state attorney, whoever else had to sign off on this? They should all be arrested for conspiracy to deprive the people of their rights. All right. And once people start getting violated, once people starts getting confiscated, once people start getting arrested, once people start dying because they don't want to be kidnapped, once people start resisting and rebelling and revolting, and they end up dying, defending themselves, guess what, man? Those police officers, those motherfucking politicians, those governors, whoever is putting this shit out there, they need to be put in front of a squad that goes bang bang. You know what I'm saying? I gotta be real careful with my words here. But I'm not doing anything illegal here. Just telling you guys what the law says. The law is very clear. 18 U.S. Code 242, 18 U.S. Code 241. It's what's supposed to be done. And it's one particular U.S. code that has been ignored since its implementation. I don't know how many times. Every now and then they get a wild hair up their ass and they want to use it against a police officer, right? That goes a little bit too far and that can't readily be justified. But if you really look at it and you go through the history of politics in this country, you know, every time they pass, there's 20,000 gun control laws. 20,000 gun control laws that violate the rights of individuals that are not criminals, that do not have any priors or anything like that, right? They're not convicts or anything. That deprive the rights of individuals that are minding their own business and are not trying to cause harm to anybody else. 20,000 gun control laws on the books. A shitload of laws that go against the right to free speech, right? Freedom of speech. Every time a judge in a court, every time a panel, you know, rules against the individual's rights in all of these lawsuits, they should be placed on arrest under the color of law. Under the color of law, they're violating these people's rights. When they say, oh, you know what, you know, concealed carry bans, open carry bans, you know, having to do a background check for ammunition, oh, all that is constitutional. If you rule that as constitutional as a judge, and you know damn well it's not, that's conspiracy to violate someone's rights. When they said, oh, you know, this is what we feel. I feel like, this is what the judges say, I feel like, you know, you have a freedom, you have the right to free speech, except when you yell fire in a movie theater, unless you incite violence, which is very subjective, right? And, you know, they're using that right now to lock up all these people for January 6th, right? All these political prisoners. That's what they are. Anybody that would arrest, even Enrique Torrio, I don't like that motherfucker, but just for saying certain shit, you know, all because some judge panel, some court said, hey, oh, we determined that yelling fire in the movie theater or inciting this, inciting that, saying you're gonna do that. Oh, we have decided that you don't get that free speech. That's the free speech you don't get. Now, yeah, should you threaten people? No, you should not. You should not threaten people, right? You shouldn't threaten people. You shouldn't be able to do that. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do it just on principle. It has nothing to do with whether a law should determine that that's right or wrong. You just shouldn't threaten anybody. But should you get 20 years in prison for certain speech that where you're not even making threats? You know, they're going after all these people for January 6th for saying certain shit like, oh, let's go in there, let's do this, don't let them do this, that, just saying shit that politicians say, saying shit that people, orators, you know, people, charismatic people, just people that are good at, you know, inspiring people, good at, you know, opening people's minds. This is what they want. They don't want you to be inspired. They don't want you to fight for your rights. They don't want you to be involved with people that can encourage you to, hey, stand up for yourself. Don't let these motherfuckers violate you. I don't give a fuck if they were elected, appointed. I don't give a fuck if they have the whole force of a police agency under their fucking influence. We don't care about that. The fact of the matter is they're not better than you, and they don't have the right to violate you simply because you voted for them to do certain things. You didn't vote for them to violate your rights. You voted for them to look out for you, right? This is a representative democracy, or so they say. Or democratic republic, however you want to say it. They want to say constitutional republic, democratic. It doesn't even fucking matter. These people, particularly the Congress people, right? The assembly people, the people that you vote to represent you. That's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to represent you. They're not supposed to, look out for special interest groups. They're not supposed to try to, get you to. They're not supposed to be trying to ban meat. They're not supposed to try to, push cricket juice and cricket meat and roach milk and all this stuff. That's not what they're there for. They're there to represent your rights and represent your interests. And that's why it can never be done. No one person can represent such a large number of people in their given district. I don't give a fuck if it's 2,000 people. I don't give a fuck if it's 200 people. I don't give a fuck if it's 50,000 people. I don't give a fuck if it's 1 million people. There's no way one individual can represent each individual that they're supposed to represent. It's much easier for a politician to get caught up and say, and have these people approaching them, these special interest groups. Oh, we represent a large sample size of individuals in your constituency. Well, how do you know that? And this is what we'll make sure we'll make large campaign contributions to you. We'll make sure this, that, and the third happens. We'll give you these donations, those donations. We'll make sure that your son or your daughter gets a great job. This is what politicians do. That all they give a fuck about is the banking and is the bankers and the special interest groups. And if the special interest groups don't conflict with the bankers, okay, well, have at it, says the bankers, right? All the bankers give a fuck about is more power. And if these special interest groups don't get in the way of their power, then they're going to be okay with it. And that's why they sometimes have these foothills, right? Or foothills. They have these, I don't know what they want to call these people, these Trojan horses like the NRA, right? The special interest, the bankers are okay with the NRA because the NRA is highly compromising. But what they don't like, the bankers, they don't like the government, they don't like the Gun Owners of America, they don't like Firearms Policy Coalition, they don't like this group, they don't like that group, that actually are no compromise. That's why I am a member of the Firearms Policy Coalition. That's why I am a member of the Gun Owners of America. And I'm not a member, no longer a member of the NRA. Because I understand what it is. That is a special interest group that the bankers get behind and also use as controlled opposition whenever, these Democrats want to have someone to point the finger at, right? Because they understand that when you point the finger at the NRA, you're pointing the finger at the NRA members. Because it is a member organization. It's not it's a non-profit member organization, right? Much like a credit union is. It's a member organization. It's not, there's no one owner. There's no single proprietary. No. So they understand that. They understand that. And they understand that they can get the NRA to come through and be like, hey, they can hold up a constitutional carry law and say North Carolina because, we don't like that. You have to go do this and go do that, And now look what's going on in North Carolina. That shit stalled like a motherfucker. Thanks to the NRA. The point is this: the easiest way to ensure that these people don't even get an opportunity to violate your rights, right? To commit, to violate 18 U.S. Code 241 and 242, is to just get rid of them. Just to demonstrate that you don't need these motherfuckers no more. What do we need these motherfuckers for? Why do we need a governor? Why do we need a motherfucking congressperson? Why do we need a president? Why do we need them? They have demonstrated, holy shit. They have demonstrated that they do not deserve our support. They don't deserve our fealty. They don't deserve our, submission. Because that's basically what we're doing. We're submitting to these motherfuckers. Every time you people go out and vote, every time you vote, you are submitting. And this is what I was trying to explain to some coworkers. Because I told them I don't vote. I haven't voted in any election ever in my adulthood. Oh, then they say, oh, you don't have a right to complain. I say, excuse me, I'm the only motherfucker in here with a right to complain. You know why? Because I didn't ask for these motherfuckers to come through and do shit for me. It's y'all voted. Y'all voted these people in the office, and then when they do some fucked up shit, whose fault is it? Whose fault is it that you submitted a suggestion form in a box to have somebody that you want to rule over you and rule over everybody else? That's not my fault. How is it my fault? I have every right to complain. Damn Skippy, I do. You don't have a right. If you voted for a politician, if you voted for a measure, if you voted for this, you voted for that, you are responsible, partly, for the outcome. Because you said, you know what, I'm gonna put it in your hands to ensure what's best for me. You didn't say, no, I'm gonna keep, no, I'm gonna take responsibility for myself. And I am going to make sure that I do the right thing for myself. And I'm going to make sure that I'm good for myself. All right. So if you decide that you want this person to represent you, right? And you put out, you vote for a person. And even if your person doesn't win, you're still submitting to the individual that did win, because you're saying, you know what, I'm going to vote for the person that I want to rule over me. But if the other person rules over me, then I will acquiesce to whatever the fuck they want. You're still submitting. Whereas the people that don't vote, we're like, man, we don't want nothing to do with this shit. I don't want nothing to do with none of this, because y'all got life fucked up. Y'all are failures. You know what I'm saying? Y'all have completely failed at representing me. You have completely failed at enforcing the Constitution. The number one priority for an executive should be to enforce the rules and of the Constitution which limit government overreach. But what is their first priority? To find any way possible to strip you of your rights, to strip you of your control over your own life. And you people vote for this. Not saying you people, but that's what I'm telling my coworker. Like, y'all are worse than me. It's not my fault that y'all voted for this clown to come through and destroy shit. This motherfucker, Joe Biden, is giving billions of dollars to Ukraine, right? And a measly couple $1 million to the people of Lahaina with $700 a piece. What is that gonna do? What they gonna do with that $700? They can't even Airbnb for a week with $700 anywhere in Maui. What they gonna do? How is it? What is $700? That's like the ultimate insult to these people. But this is what y'all voted for. Whether you voted for Biden or not. Whether you voted for Biden or against Trump or voted for Trump. This is the outcome that you have submitted to. So the only people that have the right, well, you have the right to complain. That's, of course, your right. That's free speech. Of course. I'm not literally saying you don't have a right just because you voted. No, you absolutely have a right to regret your choice. You have, in the voice that concern, you have the right to express how you felt violated, how your trust was violated when you voted for this person and they did some whacked out shit and just destroyed your way of life, destroyed your income, destroyed the value of your dollar, just completely put you in a position where you live in paycheck to paycheck. Yeah, you have a right to voice those concerns, and you have every right to regressive grievances. You have every right. But don't sit up here. The problem is, the non-voter, that we don't have a right to complain. You got life fucked up, homie. You have less of a right to complain than I do. If you're gonna go there, no, I have every right to complain, because guess what? There's no opt-out button. I'm forced to live in this society, and until there are changes that are made, which I have every confidence. I'm so optimistic about the changes that can be made toward the positive in my lifetime and in my children's lifetime. Hey, the way things are going right now, the way eyes are being opened, you know what I'm saying? It just, all we need to do is keep pushing forward, keep moving forward, and keep exposing the bullshit, keep exposing the lies, keep exposing the contradictions, keep exposing everything that we see with our own eyes every day. At some point, we're gonna have to be like, okay, all right, I get it. This is fucked up. We got to make a complete 100%, 180 degree change. I have every confidence that that can happen in my lifetime. Anyway, I done made it to my first destination, probably the only destination here, today, before I get back to the house. Let me know what y'all think. Let me read a couple comments. Shot killings was good. Can't guard Jay was good. Hell, not voting is actually the way of protesting. Absolutely it is. Imagine if 50% of the people that normally vote on election day don't go out and vote. Just half the people. Imagine if 80% of the individuals that normally go out and vote every year or every election season don't go out and vote. Yes, Black Spring, I can see you. Thank you for sharing me out. How you doing? Chelsea G was good. I can see you, Black Spring. They have not, shadow blocked you. Can't guard Jay says, not to mention the leader of the Oath Keepers is facing prison time too. I mean, it's complete utter nonsense. But they're political prisoners. Everybody understands that. I had to dig through the dog pile to see you live, of course. That's how it be. At this point in time, it is what it is. I'm just looking forward to getting my other channels up and running, especially this one channel that I'm looking very forward to. That I actually want to get started in a couple weeks on the weekend. Now that my weekends are a little bit more freed up, I have more time. I guess Albuquerque must be under martial law. Yeah, of course it's under martial law. But there is no, that she had no justification for declaring martial law. And she didn't declare martial law in New Mexico. She declared a health emergency. And under the Bruin decision, you cannot violate people's rights to keep their arms based on public interests. Okay, so she violated that. There's only two tests, or two-step approach. There's a two-step approach. The text of the Second Amendment and history and tradition. There is no history or tradition of saying people can't keep and bear arms for a public health emergency. There's no precedent for that. All right, I'm getting out of here. I might get back on the live stream on my way back to the house to continue this discussion, because I kind of want to talk about being afraid of Jews. I'm getting tired of it. I'm no longer going to censor myself when it comes to Jews, because the Jews, there's nothing wrong with Jews. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with Jews as a people, as a whole. We need to get over this nonsense. We need to encourage people with these huge voices and these huge followings not to be afraid to talk about the reality of the Jewish community, right? I'm going to get into that. Too many people have illusions of over freedom. Yeah. They say your ancestors fought to vote, like MLK didn't regret the shit he stated himself, that he integrated people into a burning house right before. Yeah. You see, the people that they really wanted to end segregation, because we were thriving too much when it was the black community, looking out for the black community, living within the black community, even though we were treated like trash in the more common areas, right, where we couldn't use the same water fountain and all that shit, go to an ice cream salon, whatever. But within our own communities, we were thriving, even though we were below the poverty line. We were below the poverty line, but we were thriving. We were good. We didn't need to be above the poverty line. We lived within our means. We were good. We had shit going for ourselves. Anyway, I'm gonna get back at y'all on my way back to the house. Much love, like, share, subscribe, and we're gonna keep marching forward toward freedom. Peace.